But look, less than 2 years ago, in an historic first, Limerick directly elected a new mayor. The vote was meant to mark an exciting new chapter in Irish local democracy and begin a process of pushing power and decision-making to a local level. Yet, as we're about to hear, things have gone sour. With reports of major personality clashes and bureaucratic paralysis, questions are mounting over whether the office of a mayor is bringing about meaningful change. In a moment, we'll speak to the man who won the election and who's at the centre of the issue, Limerick Mayor John Moran. First, though, Alan English works for The Currency, and he has been interviewing dozens of people about the problem, including John Moran himself and senior council staff. He's been speaking to Primetime's Tara Peterman.
John Moran was elected for 5 years in June 2024. He is the #1 executive in Limerick City and County Council. He has a considerable amount of influence. A lot of people said there was a great opportunity to demonstrate that this could be a force for change for Limerick. He comes in, he's a disruptor. He's an agent of change. He believes he has a mandate for change, and he makes enemies pretty quickly. Every local authority in Ireland now has a CEO, somebody who runs the executive and who liaises with the councillors. John Moran's introduction changed that in that it brought a third element into the equation, an executive mayor who actually stood above the CEO. The CEO was Pat Daly. His job title changed to Director General. John Moran then basically presented Pat Daly and the council executive with his mayoral plan. He handed them this plan and said, look, there's my plan, I want you to implement it. Pat Daly took the view that he was being unrealistic in the expectations. This was like nothing that had ever happened in an Irish local authority, where you had somebody coming in like this who had no real experience in local government. Unfortunately, the two were at loggerheads quite early on. John Moran, at the end of last year, went on Limerick's Live 95 radio station to defend comments that he had made over the Limerick Christmas market not being up to scratch as he saw it.
Your views, your news, your Limerick Today with Joe Nash on Live 95.
What is the story with Christmas in Limerick?
We all agreed last year that Christmas in Limerick is not up to the standard of what you see in Waterford and Galway and other places. I cannot reach comfort on signing off on a Christmas market at the beginning of September when I haven't even seen the details of what's actually proposed to be delivered. So I'm going to not confuse things. I'm going to just push that off to next year.
Pat Daly was listening to this interview in his office back in City Hall, a mile away. And when John Moran came back to the office, there was a huge collision between the two of them, a big confrontation. Pat Daly actually started writing an email to the entire staff of the council and the councillors. And it was effectively an unprecedented move that somebody would sort of take to an email and criticise the mayor in this type of fashion.
Tensions have been simmering from early on in John Moran's mayoralty, with council meetings often fractious and marked by infighting. They boiled over last week after a meeting where the corporate plan was on the agenda. Mayor Moran left 5 hours into the 7-hour meeting as he was feeling unwell. Councillors voted through the corporate plan in his absence, the final straw for Limerick's mayor. He took to his own website to launch a blistering attack on a number of councillors, accusing them of a deliberate strategy to ensure his term as mayor is not successful.
There are competing narratives out there. One narrative is that the mayor has lost the room, that he has lost the vast majority of the councillors and the vast majority of the council executive. Another narrative is that this impression is being put out there by his opponents. And I did find that he has considerable support in the chamber, in the council chamber. I would say that probably a majority of the councillors feel a level of support for John Moran. Some of them have fallen out with their own parties. Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael in Limerick are split over this, split down the middle really. It's a very troubled scenario. but I can see a way through it. He just needs to, in my view, temper his approach somewhat and listen a little bit more. Limerick people want these people to get on with things and to improve the fortunes of the city and the county.
That was Alan English speaking to Primetime's Tara Peterman. And we're joined now by the man himself, the Mayor of Limerick, John Moran. And John, thank you for joining us on the programme this evening. This all seems to be a bit of a mess, doesn't it? Would you be concerned at this point it's going to start causing problems for how Limerick is operating?
No, not at all, Tara. I mean, look, I think everybody knew this was a new venture. Everybody knew that there were going to be teething problems along the way. Some of them could have been avoided. I think the warnings were there in the Oireachtas reports and other reports. And I think the department is as we've said, and the Taoiseach said it himself when he was in Limerick recently, I think there's a need for a review of those decisions and seeing whether or not we can actually reverse some of the more troublesome parts of the legislation. But on the ground, it's a very different story. I mean, Limerick are celebrating the fact that we've managed to, and in fact, use the office of the mayor, which we didn't have before, to have a really good set of conversations with the HSE, with landowners, find a new location for the hospital. People will know that we bought 70 acres of land outside Patrickswell in a different one to drive forward housing, something that hasn't been done before in the state because we have a mayoral fund allowing us to buy land that isn't zoned for housing so that we can capture the value for that. And right around our city hall, one of the very first things that we did as in the conversations as mayor was to work with Kieran O'Donnell locally here, who was then the Minister for the OPW, to unblock the flood protection. So I disagree with the idea that things aren't working, and on the ground the people of Limerick are celebrating the fact that we have guards on the beat through conversations, and
yet,
that's what really matters.
And yet, John Moran, that Currency is writing today, Alan English writing, that there is a physical altercation between yourself and Pat Daly. You told Alan English that Pat physically manhandled you out of the way in your office. Now, Pat says he didn't do that, he was just trying to get out the door of the office at the same time as you. But the fact that there's even a question as to whether there is a physical altercation, it surely speaks to really deteriorating relationships with key figures in the council.
Yeah, but I'm not, I think we've seen the report and I talked about that at the time. I think what really matters is the fact that we're 2 years into the 5-year mayoral fund, or mayoral programme. We want to get delivery on those things. And I think we had a very good conversation at the management board today, talking about the very issues, about the fact that Limerick just doesn't have the resources to deliver what it needs. And that's where the real strain is, that we're trying to do more down here in Limerick. We need to do more. I mean, the people watching this tonight down here in Limerick know that we only delivered a third of the houses that we need to deliver last year and the year before and the year before that. And you cannot just magic houses out of thin air. We've talked about it a lot, yourself and myself, before. But you also need to have resources. And I think the difficulty in the legislation as it was set up, and again, I looked to the department to try and help this, is that when we got into questions of resourcing and allocating resources, I think the public would believe that the mayor who was given a mandate to deliver and the councillors who have a mandate to deliver will be able to look to the mayor to now set resourcing of the organisation and priorities in the way that they want us to deliver. And that's not the way it works. So that creates a tension.
So I want to talk to you about the legislative change in just a minute. But in terms of relationships, because in order to get anything done, relationships have to be working smoothly. And it really does sound like they're not. How would you characterise your relationships with key figures in the council?
Yeah, so I think there's two sets. The council means two things down here. I mean, it means the councillors in one sense, and it means the officials in the other sense. And look, today we had a very productive I think it was about a 4-hour meeting about the distribution of the mayoral fund, setting the priorities with the officials.
Officials. Perhaps we could focus on the officials as opposed to the councillors, and that's what I'm talking about.
No. So look, the way that the thing has been set up is that the powers that belonged, and I heard some of the report there earlier talking about the role of CEOs in other local authorities. So the powers of the CEO in Limerick have been given to the mayor. The now Director General, who used to be the CEO, has retained very specific powers which deal with things that, in fact, you wouldn't want a mayor involved in because they involve individuals and houses, and you would want to avoid the risk of political interference. And then, in some ways,
that's leading to rows, isn't it? That's the reality. The way it's set up is leading to rows, a personality clash between you and key council members.
Well, I think the rows are caused by the fact that the mayor is fully dependent on the Director General to allocate resources to carry out the work that the mayor or indeed the councillors would want to actually fulfil. And when you have an under-resourced local authority, and I don't think Limerick is on its own in that respect, with a shortage of resources and a surfeit of priorities to deliver, you're inevitably going to have allocation rows and the rest of things that come with that.
All right.
In
So
a certain
in terms
way,
of how this...
it can be done very differently, and it is done differently in other cities.
Okay,
where
and in terms
it is made a little
I'm sorry
bit clearer.
sorry to interrupt you, John. It's a little difficult.
Go ahead.
In
It's
terms
hard
of
because
how
I don't
this,
see you, so... Yeah.
No problem. In terms of how this can be solved, you mentioned legislative change. Minister James Brown this evening, or saying to the currency that, you know, that's not on his agenda anytime soon. So how can this be fixed?
Yeah, look, I think it's not really fair of the department to be washing its hands on this issue, right? I mean, in a way, I have to sort of try and figure out where to go, right? I have an interpretation of the legislation. I think many people know that I spent many years working as a lawyer, interpreting and indeed writing legislation at the Department of Finance. And we've asked the department for interpretation of what the actual legislation that they wrote was intended and how it was intended to operate in various different factual situations. And they haven't been willing to present us with that. And I think that's not necessarily fair on Limerick, and it's certainly not fair on me and Pat Daly. But if we can actually get the clarity on the legislation, even pending the review, life gets a lot simpler, because then Pat has clarity about what he is responsible for, and it's fair when he has powers and responsibilities, he needs to be able to exercise them, as do I. And then we can actually work to sort of sorting out what exactly we can get delivered over and above what we're already delivering. And the officials are working away all day, working. And we have 2 sessions tomorrow on 2 really important issues here in Limerick.
Okay, so it's clarity from
access.
the department that you're looking for this evening, and that's clear.
Well,
John...
I think I didn't, they haven't talked to me directly in the last couple of days, but I mean, I have asked them numerous times to try and help on that. They seem to be unwilling to do so. And I think it might be an easy solution for them if they can't accelerate the review, but I do again think that should happen. I mean, the Taoiseach said it should happen so that we can get clarity. But there are very specific issues about when something is important to the Mayor, how does the Director General actually implement that?
Thank you so much for joining us on the programme this evening. I do appreciate your time, John Moran.
Thanks a million.
Thank you. Now, in a statement to Primetime, Limerick City and County Council said that Limerick City and County Council is no stranger to transformational change. In fact, as far back as 2014, Limerick became one of the first local authorities in the state to successfully amalgamate a city and county administration, a process widely recognised as one of the most complex organisational transitions ever undertaken in Irish local government. That experience, they say, has forged a workforce and management structure fully capable of navigating major change with professionalism, resilience and ambition. Limerick City and County Council is capable of navigating the current challenges while continuing to deliver the best possible outcomes for the people of Limerick.